into this case study about Barack Obama. I'm going to try not to sit on this too long. Actually, these are pretty short clips, but I want to make a point in reference to this case study. First, we're going to bring up this discussion with Tucker Carlson and this guy named Larry Sinclair that said that he had, I guess, a night with Obama and that Obama was a drug user at one point back in the day. Now, we're going to start with this clip and I want to explain why I really don't care about Obama's sexuality. That has nothing to do with what we're about to discuss. But I'm using this episode to make a point, and there's something I want you to think about. This case study about Barack and Michelle Obama, there was something to me that stood out about Obama's presidency that I'd never heard before. People would constantly tell me that Barack Obama never had any scandals, that he never had any dirty laundry. No skeletons in the closet, so to speak. They're like, he's the only president that didn't have. And I started thinking about that. And I wondered, like, how could that be the case? Everyone has dirty laundry. No one's perfect. Everyone got a couple of skeletons in the closet, right? So that made me think about something. Why is that? Why is it that the entire time that Barack Obama was in office, there was nothing revealed really about him, or these skeletons or dirty laundry, so to speak, that was exposed? And that brings us to this clip here with Larry Sinclair and Tucker Carlson. We are not going to play the entire thing. We're going to play part of it, and then I'm going to move on to something else. But this is a part of the case study, so let's go ahead and get started with this.
Where did you meet Barack Obama?
It was by accident. I was in the Chicago area in '99 for Lee Duke's graduation from the Naval Academy.
Who's Lee Duke?
He's basically my godson.
Okay.
I had hired a limousine service.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you live in Chicago then?
No. I was actually living in Colorado. I had flown in the night before.
Okay.
So had hired a limousine service, had made the driver aware that if Lee couldn't leave the base, because once they graduate, some of them actually get their assignments and they're shipping out and they can't leave the base, that I was still interested in going out. And had asked the driver if he knew anybody that was available that might want to show me, Chicago. And he said he did. So
who was the driver?
His name was Jamir Multani. It was with 5-star limo.
So you're just a guy who's in town for the night, and it sounds like you're looking to party, actually.
Yeah.
That's what you're really saying.
Yeah. Well, I was in town for a few nights, but yeah, I was definitely looking to party. And
did you make that clear to the driver?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There was no misunderstanding.
How direct were you about that?
Extremely.
Extremely. Okay.
Yeah. There was no doubt what I was looking for.
Okay.
And he picked me up at my hotel in Gurnee and drove into Chicago, pulled up in a bar outside, and there's this guy that's introduced to me as Barack Obama. It was literally that casual.
Had you ever heard of him?
No.
Did the driver know him?
Yep. The driver definitely knew him because the driver said that he was a friend.
Interesting. How would the driver be friends with Barack Obama?
I only found out later, dealing with a reporter from Bloomberg News, that apparently the limousine company had been doing business with Tony Resco, that at the time was somehow affiliated with Barack Obama.
Orbit. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Interesting. So he knew Barack Obama, and in his view, Barack Obama liked the same kind of partying you were looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. So sex and drugs, in other words.
Well, the sex part I wasn't so sure about until, of course, you make your move, but it became obvious very quick. The coke part I thought was interesting because of the way that I had brought it up.
So I'm stepping on your story. So you pull up, and I apologize. So you pull up to this bar. The driver is basically scouting some dude for you to hang out with.
Correct.
There's this guy, Barack Obama. Have you ever heard of Barack Obama?
Never. Never. we're having drinks. I mentioned the fact that I could use something to wake up. I was extremely exhausted.
So you went into the bar.
Yes, sir.
What kind of bar was it?
You guys notice Tucker keeps interrupting too much. I don't know if he's just excited or what, but let the man talk.
I'm trying to remember. I've been trying to remember the name. I know that the glasses had 3 X's on them because I remember taking one home for a friend of mine.
What, but I mean, generally characterize it. Was it,
It was
working class bar,
no,
gay
it was
bar,
upscale,
strip bar?
It was upscale, quiet. Wasn't really that really didn't have a lot of energy to it. It was more relaxed, more like a lounge as opposed to somewhere where people would go and get loud and crazy.
Yeah.
Which made it easier to talk. But like I said, when I brought up the fact that I could use something to wake up, he immediately knew what I was referring to, had made it clear that I was looking for Coke, and I really was, and had made the suggestion that he knew where we could get it, and we left to go get it.
Interesting. Did he say what he...
So I'm going to fast forward just a little bit because of the interruptions, it takes him a long time to get to the point.
No, the driver's driving.
Yeah.
I start to put a line on a CD tray, and I just happen to notice that he pulls something else out of his pocket. And next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he's smoking. So I don't have any.
We're going to pause it there because there's only so much of this I could play on YouTube. But long story short, he goes on to say that apparently he did drugs with Barack Obama, the powder kind, and also there was sexual activity that took place as well. Now, I don't care about Obama's sexual orientation. I don't care that Barack Obama did drugs. Here's what I do care about, though. I care about the fact that, again, it's almost like they tried to make it seem like with Barack Obama that he was perfect. When Barack Obama was revealed to us as a candidate, they made it seem like he was this wholesome, perfect. You know, nobody's perfect. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. Everybody has dirty laundry. And I found it really odd. Like during his entire presidency, people are like, you know, he's the only president that never had any dirty laundry. And I was like, really? How is that? Bill Clinton had dirty laundry, multiple loads, if you know what I'm talking about. George W. Bush had dirty laundry. Trump had dirty laundry. Biden has dirty laundry. But for some reason, and you'll still see the meme go around on social media, Obama never had any scandals, no dirty laundry, that kind of stuff. But maybe that's not even the person that we thought it was. Maybe who this guy is describing, if this is true, is the real Obama. And maybe the person that has been presented to us as president of the United States is merely a puppet. Now, what I found to be really interesting is a lot of people were taking that video and they're like, oh my God, Barack Obama, he may be bisexual or something. And I was like, I just don't think that it's that interesting. I don't care about his sexuality. I do care about the fact that it seems like to me, I don't feel like the person that was presented to us as president of the United States was actually who Obama really was. That information that was just told to you by that gentleman, he tried to get that information out before many years ago. And it's like immediately it was shut down, and he was told, the press said that he was a criminal and all this kind of stuff. You know how they attack your character and stuff like that. But it was shut down pretty quick. I never even heard about it at that time. I heard about it, you know, I learned about it later on as time went by. But they were able to shut that down very quickly. And why is that? It's almost as if they protected Obama. Why would they do that? But here's the thing I wish more people mention. Shout out to Caitlin Johnstone, because she hit the nail right on the head. She said the real Obama scandal was that he destroyed multiple nations. I mean, I can't deny it. We're not going to read the whole article. We're just going to read this part right here. Holy shit. Did you guys hear the news about Obama? Turns out this nasty freak destroyed Libya, signed off on the destruction of Yemen, armed terrorists with the goal of destroying Syria, set the stage for the Ukraine war, and jailed more whistleblowers than any other president. This information that Caitlin wrote right here in her newsletter, you don't hear people talk about this when they talk about Barack Obama. How many people who were Obama supporters even know about what I just told you? If you go out to the Black community, like Black people who really love Barack Obama, right? How many people in the community know about Obama's foreign policy decisions? Why is it that when people talk about Barack Obama, it's like they still talk about him as this he's like this holy grail of a person, and they don't mention these things? Moreover, how come they don't mention the housing crisis? How come they don't mention the fact that Obama chose to bail out Wall Street instead of the American people, and all these people lost their homes? Because I believe that Barack Obama is protected. And I want to show you another example why I believe that he's protected. Because we're going to get into it, right? We're going to go back. I want to take you back to when Obama selected Hillary Clinton for Secretary of State. Listen to this. Listen to what's said here. I had to pay close attention to this.
US President-elect Barack Obama has named his former rival as one of the top players in his new administration. The former First Lady, Hillary Clinton, will return to the White House next month, replacing Condoleezza Rice as Secretary of State. Sky's David Bowden has the details.
It was the poorest kept secret in Washington, but now it's official. The worst of enemies are the best of friends.
I have known Hillary Clinton as a friend, a colleague, a source of counsel, and a tough campaign opponent. She possesses an extraordinary intelligence and a remarkable work ethic. I am proud that she will be our next Secretary of State.
Let's pause here for a second because I want to remind you of something. You have to remember, Obama and Hillary Clinton did not get along at first. Obama and Hillary Clinton ran against each other in 2008. Obama won the nomination for the Democratic Party again. I would say, I believe from day one, Obama was selected. So then it's almost like in turn, as a favor, so to speak, he selects Hillary Clinton as his Secretary of State. Now, why is this important? Because where was this supposed to go from here? From here, Hillary Clinton was supposed to be president of the United States. That would take us into 2016 as we go forward, right? These are just things to pay attention to. Let's listen. I want to show you something else that they say here that's interesting.
And with those few words, the Clintons took their place once again at the top table of US politics. Where once it was William Jefferson, now it will be Hillary Rodham Clinton, who is in government. What an about-turn in fortune for the woman who so publicly was spurned by her party in her bid to be president just a few months ago.
Wait, no, Hillary, you just spoke.
And who campaigned so viciously against the man she will now call boss.
You talked about the ideas of the Republicans. I didn't talk about Ronald Reagan.
We just had the tape. You just said that I complimented the Republican ideas. That is not true.
Barack Obama knows appointing Hillary to his top team is a risk, but maybe a lesser one than not appointing her.
Did you hear what they just said? They said Barack Obama knew appointing Hillary Clinton to his administration was a risk, but maybe less of a risk than not appointing her. What's that mean? What are they trying to tell you, people? Did Hillary bully her way in? Because based on what I saw when they were debating each other, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton did not really get along in the beginning. So why all of a sudden would Obama just say, okay, I'm going to pick you for Secretary of State? Was that his decision or was it already decided? Just something to think about.
The Obama transition team has driven a hard bargain with the Clintons to allow Hillary her chance in government. Bill Clinton is for the first time preparing to publicly disclose the identities of more than 200,000 donors to his various organizations and charities. And his lucrative speaking commitments around the world, which have made him a millionaire many times over, will all now have to be vetted by Barack's people.
President Kennedy once said that engaging the world to meet the threats we face was the greatest adventure of our century. Well, Mr. President-elect, I am proud to join you on what will be a difficult and exciting adventure in this new century.
The Clinton brand still opens doors across the globe, and Hillary is a seasoned politician in her own right. And with the steady...
Let me pause here for a second. I just want to show you something that in part's not that important. You guys see this, right? I just want to remind everybody.
And Hillary is...
This is the first time. This was the first time. This is when Hillary was supposed to become president. Oh, wait. So then Hillary Clinton, she loses to Barack Obama, right? Then Hillary Clinton runs for president in 2016 and she wins the nomination, but she loses to Donald Trump. So that was twice where Hillary feels like she was robbed. She felt like she was really supposed to get this back in 2008. That's why she's still talking about losing to Trump. That's why she wrote books about this and everything. Now, let's go on. Now we're going to move on to this piece here. We're still on Obama. We didn't get to Michelle yet. But we're going back to this piece here where Barack Obama said we tortured some folk. This is when it was revealed. There were CIA documents that were revealed about the CIA torturing people. This was after September 11. Listen to this. There's certain things we're going to point out in this video, again, that makes me feel like Barack Obama is protected. Listen to this.
The C-SPAN networks bring you long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
Eventually we make some progress. All right? I thought that you guys were going to ask me how I was going to spend my birthday. What happened to the happy birthday thing?
Here is Barack Obama making jokes about this is a serious topic. I don't know if everybody remembers when this happened, but this was huge news at that time. This was huge when this information was leaked about what the CIA did, how they torture people. And here's Barack Obama making a little light of I thought you guys were going to wish me happy birthday. This is not like a light moment. So let him finish. Listen to this.
I will address 2 points. I'll address. Hold on, guys. Come on. There's just. You're not that pent up. I've been giving you questions lately. On Brennan and the CIA, the RDI report has been transmitted. The declassified version that will be released at the pleasure of the Senate committee. I have full confidence in John Brennan. I think he has acknowledged and directly apologized to Senator Feinstein that.
Hold on to the name John Brennan, because we're going to come back to that.
CIA personnel did not properly handle an investigation as to how certain documents that were not authorized to be released to the Senate staff got somehow into the hands of the Senate staff. And it's clear from the IG report that some very poor judgment was shown in terms of how that was handled. Keep in mind, though, that John Brennan was the person who called for the IG report. And he's already stood up a task force to make sure that lessons are learned and mistakes are resolved. With respect to the larger point of the RDI report itself, even before I came into office, I was very clear that in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, we did some things that were wrong. We did a whole lot of things that were right, but we tortured some folks.
Let me ask you guys a question. John Brennan, why didn't, when this information was released, that we did torture people, why didn't Barack Obama fire John Brennan? Why, guys? Think about this. Barack Obama, he was the president. He could have easily removed John Brennan, but Barack Obama chose not to. And it almost made me wonder, if Barack Obama chose not to remove John Brennan, first of all, why would he not remove him? He should have been removed at this point in time. But two, the fact that he chose not to do it, again, to me, that says, we'll keep him in there and I'll continue to be protected. I believe that Barack Obama from day one has been protected, and I believe he's still being protected right now. And this is something we really need to look into. That is very concerning. Now, I want to show you, let me finish this part first, and then I'm going to show you something, because even The Atlantic called out Obama for not firing John Brennan.
We did some things that were contrary to our values. I understand why it happened. I think it's important when we look back to recall how afraid people were after the Twin Towers fell and the Pentagon had been hit and the plane in Pennsylvania had fallen, and people did not know whether more attacks were imminent. And there was enormous pressure on our law enforcement and our national security teams to try to deal with this. It's important for us not to feel too sanctimonious in retrospect about the tough job that those folks had. And a lot of those folks were working hard under enormous pressure and are real patriots. But having said all that, we did some things that were wrong.
Those people were working so hard and they were under immense pressure. So that means they had to torture people. Is that what you're saying, Obama? Look, I want to show you this, guys, because The Atlantic, they raised this question. I was actually surprised I could still find this on the internet, to be honest. The Atlantic raised this question. Does John Brennan know too much for Obama to fire him? I mean, it's just, when John Brennan assured the country that the CIA hadn't improperly monitored the Senate team that compiled a report on Bush-era torture, he fed us false information. That much is clear from Thursday's news, that the CIA secretly monitored a congressional committee charged with supervising its activities. Now, it goes on to say here, either the CIA director was lying or he was unaware of grave missteps at the agency he leads. President Obama could surprise the country by axing his former counterterrorism advisor. Remember, this guy, he was there before Obama. Just remember. Former counterterrorism advisor explaining that under Brendan's management, employees broke laws and undermined the separation of powers core to our democracy. Obama may well make a good faith effort to act in the national interest, but it's impossible to believe that he won't be aware of the following. No U.S. official knows more than Brennan about Obama's many drone killings. It's all coming back now, guys, right? So this was the thing. Either Brennan had too much on Barack Obama, or Barack Obama was afraid to remove Brennan because he felt if he kept him in place that he would remain protected, or maybe it was both. Some of the killings were solidly grounded in international law, and others may have violated the Fifth Amendment, international law, or the laws of wars. The Atlantic published this. You don't hear much about it, though. And then there's this recent thing. Biden and Obama discussed 2024 strategy in privacy. Why is Obama still involved with the electoral politics today? Why is he still involved? He was involved. He was around the season 2020. Here it is going into the 2024 presidential election. Obama's still hanging around. Let's play this.
The subject of Trump's continued political strength was the topic of discussion in a private meeting we've learned between President Biden and former President Obama, who discussed how much was at stake in the 2024 election. This was back in June, according to two sources.
And joining us now is NBC's chief White House correspondent, Kristen Welker. Kristen, great seeing you. So what more can you tell us about this meeting?
Hi, Anna and Jose. Great to be with both of you. Well, according to multiple sources who are familiar with this June lunch, we are told that 2024 was front and center. And we're told that former President Obama effectively had two main messages. One, that he was willing to do whatever is necessary to help get President Biden reelected. And number two, a bit of a warning about the Trump base, the ongoing strength of the Trump base. Why is this so important? Because I have to tell you, Democrats who I speak with say that Trump is Biden's best bet of reelection.
Let me ask you guys a question. Why is Obama still trying to help people in the Democratic? He's not. Guys, do you see Bill Clinton trying to help Democrat politicians win? Do you see any of these other? Hell, I don't even see Hillary trying to help Democrat politicians win. It's always Obama. Remember, Barack Obama was the one that made the phone call to tell the other Democrat candidates to drop out? Quite odd, huh? So now here he is discussing strategy with Joe Biden. And this leads to another question. Since Obama seems to have his hands in so many different spaces, there have been concerns for quite some time that it is Barack Obama who's making decisions. Because of the fact that Joe Biden obviously is not all there. Now people have been saying they believe Barack Obama's the one who's been making these decisions. Let's get into that clip.
If you're a regular viewer of the U.S. Report, you know that one of the big meaning of life questions we try to answer every week is just who the hell is running the show at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? Well, now we seem to be a little bit closer to an answer, because first things first, it is definitely not this guy.
That's Joe Biden walking out before the end of the event. I don't know if everyone saw this video before, but I do want to explain to everyone. Joe Biden ain't making no decisions, guys. He can't be. He's not with it.
Now, what you just saw was another bit of Biden weirdness as the president abruptly walked out of a Medal of Honor ceremony this week before the final benediction was offered. Guess he didn't have any of those handy-dandy presidential note cards around. You know, the ones that say, "You sit here, you stand there. You, Mr. President, don't leave until the ceremony is over, or you don't get any ice cream." Anyway, naturally, Karine Jean-Pierre was there to play cleanup.
He left as planned, as it was planned. He left when there was a pause in the program in order to minimize his close contact with attendees who are about to participate in a reception.
Minimize contact, you say. Well, it's another day, another dollar for the hardest working woman in show business. It wasn't the dementia. What did it? It was COVID. Yeah, that's the story, honestly. So that's the question then. If Joe Biden isn't running things, well, who is? And whispers have been growing that the guy really pulling the strings is this man, Barack Obama. Now, observers have noted that for some time, the former president has been acting behind the scenes like, well, a bit of a string puller.
That mofo has been too involved. Like Barack Obama's last term was the end of 2016, but Barack Obama has still been heavily involved. All these other presidents, they serve their terms, they retire from the presidency, they move on, they write books, they give, speaking engagements, etc. But for the most part, they have moved on with their lives. But Barack Obama is still heavily involved. And this shit just always boggled my mind. I'm like, it's 2023. Why are you still around? Something to think about.
After the Obama's time in the White House was over, and because being a lifetime public servant pays so well, the Obamas bought this mansion in Washington, D.C., price tag $8.1 million US. Hell of a pension there. This, of course, broke with a long-standing tradition that U.S. presidents, when they're done, go home, like Reagan to California or Harry S. Truman to Missouri. But Obama, not so much. Because, again, when Trump came to power in 2016, Obama was in no mood to leave town. Remember, the effort to stop Trump through the bogus Russiagate hoax came straight out of the Obama White House and the Clinton campaign, which decided to paint the Republican as an agent of Moscow to nobble his chances of becoming president. Now, Hillary's campaign may have paid for the Steele dossier, but it was Barack Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, who in November and December of 2016 helped elevate Russiagate from a failed Clinton campaign ploy to a priority of the American national security apparatus.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you do not remember the name, that was John Brennan. Remember when I asked you, why didn't Obama fire John Brennan? See how this is all connected? I like doing these little case studies every now and then. I like doing it. Like, see, John Brennan. That's why he still ain't get rid of him. Now, we're moving on to Michelle. Not as much about Michelle, but the reason why I want to move on to Michelle is because there have been rumblings that the Democratic Party wants Michelle Obama to run for office. Now, before I show you that clip, I want to show you something just to remind you this shit was already in play. Remember, when People magazine decided to name Michelle Obama the most admired woman, remember this? Let's go into it. Michelle Obama named most admired woman. And then it's also with Barack and Donald Trump were tied for most admired man. Now, this was reported December 30th, 2019. A new poll shows that Americans admire former First Lady Michelle Obama more than any other woman in the world. Does everybody remember this now? Okay. They were already setting the stage. The former First Lady was named the most admired woman of 2019, according to a new Gallup poll that asked Americans to name in an open-ended fashion which man and woman living anywhere in the world they admire the most. So they were already letting the American people know Americans love Michelle Obama. Which to this day, I still agree, a lot of Americans do like Michelle Obama. Now they're saying that the Democratic Party really wants Michelle Obama to run for office. Let's put this up here. Here we go. Let's go.
But Michelle Obama running for president instead of Joe, is that remotely likely?
Well, it's probably not likely, although I would say it's certainly a fever dream among Democrats. I mean, the statistic the poll you showed before about people's lack of enthusiasm on Joe Biden is incredible. It's the reason why Donald Trump is actually essentially tied in the polls nationally with Joe Biden. He's just so unpopular. He is just so old. And by the way, when the poll showed not that the general American population, 2/3 thought he was too old, the poll showed that 2/3 of Democrats thought he was too old. I mean, that's where we're at.
Wow.
Democrats are desperate for somebody to come in and take over the reins and be the person to come out from the top of the play to take over the Democratic Party and save it from itself. And Michelle Obama, I will say this, look, she has said she doesn't want it. She has said she's not going to run, although it seems like if she were to run, she would not only win the nomination, I think she will win handily the election as well. So I think not only is it a fever dream of the Democrats, I think Republicans are quite scared of it, but I would still put it as relatively unlikely for it to happen.
This is something that I want you guys to think about. They want Michelle Obama. They would like for her to run. Now, she said she doesn't want to run, but we've heard these things before too. The point that I'm making is this. There was the article that was put out years ago to tell you she's the most admired woman in the world. Now you get that message out from the media. Remember, politics and media and the perception, it all goes hand in hand, but it always starts with the media. So the media convinces you that this is the most admired person in the world and you should admire this person. And then you think, maybe I should admire that person. What's wrong with me? If you're into all that jazz. Now you start to admire this person. And next thing you know, they tell you the Democratic Party would like for Michelle Obama to run. You don't get to this point. This is what I want to drive home. This little case study of the Obamas, you don't get to that point with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama without already being accepted by the status quo. The fact that Barack Obama can still make these decisions and he's not president of the United States, but he's still very much involved in the political space, and particularly apparently with Joe Biden, that tells me that Barack Obama for a long time has been protected. And it tells me that he has been protected because he has done what the status quo wants him to do. He has fought the wars. He has implemented the wars that they wanted him to implement. He stopped progress that they wanted him to stop. Like he stopped Occupy Wall Street. He stopped the NBA strike. So basically, Barack Obama scratched the back of the corporations, Wall Street, the military industrial complex, and they scratched his back too. He's been a good little boy. That's why he can still be around. And that's what people got to understand. Now you look at someone like Michelle Obama. So now they tell you Michelle Obama is most admired. And then you see the stories about the Democratic Party saying they want her to run. What I'm saying is the politicians, the people that are basically servants, so to speak, to the status quo, to the corporate interests, those people, if they do what they're supposed to do, they're handsomely rewarded. They'll be protected. You'll be able to stick around. And they heavily protected Barack Obama. That's why you didn't hear about some of these stories before. That's why they kept saying he never had any dirty laundry. They made sure he was protected because he did what he was told to do. He didn't push back. So what you have to understand is when I say these people are selected, they select them. The Democratic Party is already telling you they want Michelle. They already selected her. If not her, they want Gavin Newsom. You see what I mean? They handpick the people that they know are going to do their bidding. And they push everybody else out. And what I have believed for a long time is that Barack Obama was selected a long time ago. Barack Obama, Pete Buttigieg, Vivek Ramaswamy are the same damn person. They have different skin tones. but they're all Harvard educated. They may be a part of different political parties, but they all have one thing in common, and that's status quo. Damn it. These are the kind of things we have to keep in mind when we look at these candidates and we see how this system is played. So that's the case study on the Obamas. And that just go to show you, sometimes, again, all you have to do, if you have the media, just put the message out there to the people and tell them you should admire this person, you should like this person. Oftentimes, a lot of people will do it. They did not even really know why. Nobody questioning Obama's war crimes. Obama goes onto the stage, accepts all these honors. Nobody points out the fact that he killed these people. Nobody wants to remember or wants to remind him of the fact of the housing crisis, the fact that he bailed out Wall Street and people lost their homes. So even in that particular situation, again, Obama was being a good little boy because he did exactly what Wall Street wanted him to do. Save their ass. Let the American people suffer. Let the elderly people lose their homes. And you'll be handsomely rewarded. And you see he's still around. Something to think about. Something to think about. Thank you, Super Seamster. Come on with it, Sabby Sabs. Teach the truth. Love you. Thank you. V says he was protected. A kid says, Sabby, I remember speaking up for Obama and his stance before his first administration, only to learn he was a faker. Yep, me too. Thank you, Dante. Way to go, Sabby. You're connecting the dots here and exposing the fake bill of goods we were all sold with Obama. Yeah, man, like I look back on it and I was like, damn, I can't believe I fell for it. That motherfucker was good. Thank you, Joe. So many Americans are royalists and don't know it.